right, everybody. Week one of the NFL season officially in the books. We had a pretty fun Monday night football contest. NFC North football was really fun this week. It's going to be really fun all season long, I feel like. The Minnesota Vikings go into Chicago and beat the Bears 27-24 in a football game that really was a tale of two halves. For a while there in the first half, it looked like the Bears potentially were going to be the team competing with the Packers for the NFC North, and the Minnesota Vikings were going to be regretting letting Sam Darnold go. And then we get to the second half, man, and the script completely flipped. And it's a cliche, but football games are four quarters, and you got to let the game play out. Kevin O'Connell, I thought, had a masterclass in this game of halftime adjustments and showing exactly why he won Coach of the Year last year. J.J. McCarthy, a de facto rookie quarterback, didn't feel like the moment got too big for him or that he was mentally not ready to deal with a tough half of football. This is a guy who has played games for Michigan, in Ann Arbor, at Ohio State, national championships under Jim Harbaugh. And I thought that experience really showed tonight for JJ. Even after throwing a pick six, he came out and was still composed and led 3 straight touchdown drives to close the game. 2 passing touchdowns for him and a rushing touchdown. And in the second half, battled up and showed mental fortitude. And this is kind of the reason that I was so heavily believing in the Minnesota Vikings this offseason. You look at a roster that improved the offensive line, improved the defensive line, and that defensive line gave Caleb some fits, and Caleb's escapability is really the only reason there wasn't like 7-8 sacks from this Flores defense tonight. And it gives J.J. McCarthy time to flourish and figure some shit out. And he figured it out in the second half of this game, but in a rookie season, basically, where there's going to be ups and downs throughout the course of the season, week to week, in the course of a game like we saw tonight, the Vikings roster and coaching staff is built to still have wins and give JJ time to flow and learn. And Jordan Mason brought in, average 4.5 yards a carry. He was big tonight. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, who they traded for, got that 2-point conversion. Like, the pieces that they put around McCarthy really allow him the ability to learn and not feel like he has to press. And I think Kevin O'Connell let JJ do his thing, coached up the second half to where JJ McCarthy could be more successful. And then JJ McCarthy went out there and made the plays. If I'm a Vikings fan, this is a really great win to see. This is a Vikings team that was 9-1 last year in 1-score games, and it wasn't by fluke. It wasn't by coincidence. Generally speaking, they typically win the coaching matchup, and they have the pieces that are ready to perform in these big-time games. And this is all without Christian Darrisaw tonight. So the Vikings' offensive line is only going to get better. The Vikings put the league on notice tonight, I felt like. And I thought that the Bears, we could be quick to jump all over them for the second half that they had, but a team without their number one corner in Jalen Johnson, without their number one linebacker in TJ Edwards, a team that was sloppy in terms of penalties, over 120 yards in penalties, a team that's running a new offensive scheme, a new defensive scheme, figuring out where pieces go against a Brian Flores-led defense. 27-24. You lost by 3 to a team that won 14 games last year. I don't think that the Bears necessarily should leave this game holding their head low in terms of we're the same old Bears. There's a lot of room to grow for both of these squads. Caleb Williams left a lot of meat on the bone tonight. Missed DJ Moore wide open for a touchdown. Missed Roma Dunze on a post route early on in the game. Missed Colston Loveland open at some point in this game. Those are things that you get in the film room with Ben Johnson and you hope will be corrected this year. And I think you could believe will be. So this isn't to shit on the Bears by any means. I thought that both of these teams tonight showed really high potential. I thought both of these young quarterbacks tonight showed really high flashes. I don't want to live in the world of recency bias. Obviously, J.J. McCarthy turned it on in the second half, But outside of the quarterbacks, the roster advantage goes to Minnesota. And they won the game tonight. And that's fine. That's going to happen. I'm not going to come up here with some hot take about, oh, Caleb Williams isn't ready for prime time. Did he look anxious? Yeah, he did. Monday Night Football, prime time, division rival. Expectations are actually on you now. He looks a little anxious. He'll settle in. It's a long season. We don't need to overreact to this. Now, we should have some real takeaways. So, some real takeaways that I do have is the ceiling for the Minnesota Vikings with J.J. McCarthy is much higher than it was with Sam Darnold. Because at the end of the season last year, in high-pressure situations with defenders in his face, we watched Sam Darnold crumble. And in this spot, where in a first half we saw J.J. McCarthy get hit a decent amount, 5 quarterback hits in this game, 3 total sacks for the Bears defense, and pressure coming his way, he bounced back. He showed the mental fortitude, and on that rushing touchdown that he had, the 14-yard run, that's not something that's in Sam Darnold's arsenal. I do think that the Minnesota Vikings ceiling under J.J. McCarthy is higher than it was under Sam Darnold. I do think that the defensive line for Minnesota got better. We saw Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave both be disruptive in this game, along with Grenard and Van Ginkel, who already made plays. Dallas Turner was a little quiet, but you still got him. If it wasn't for Caleb Williams, really, I would say elite level escapability in this game, the Vikings themselves probably have 5+ sacks. So for Minnesota, to me, once the second half got rolling, J.J. McCarthy over Sam Darnold showed higher potential. The Jordan Mason addition looked really strong. Jonathan Allen, Javon Hargrave. You saw Ryan Kelly really work as a center there. You didn't notice Donovan Jackson making mistakes. And this is all without Darisaw still. This Vikings team still, to me, looks like a playoff team. And if J.J. McCarthy could channel what we saw in the second half over the course of games, I do think they can have Super Bowl aspirations this season. I don't think it's crazy to say. With how good of a head coach Kevin O'Connell is, Justin Jefferson, T.J. Hawkinson, Adam Thielen, Jordan Addison will be back from suspension. They didn't even have him tonight. Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, that running back duo. It's a really, really talented roster. And it's why I believed in them this offseason. Kevin O'Connell, hell of a display. J.J. McCarthy, hell of mental fortitude. From the Bears' perspective, things got a little sloppy in this game for them. We saw the Bears open up the game. Ben Johnson scripted, and they looked elite. Caleb Williams came out there, started 10 for 10, had the rushing touchdown, and looked Mahomes-esque on that first drive. And that was his comp coming out of college. So it's no surprise that at his best, he looked like that. He had 6 carries for 58 yards, 211 passing yards, and 2 total touchdowns in this game, an 86.7 passer rating. People will tell you that Caleb Williams played bad in this game. And I think bad's a far stretch. I think he had some high highs and some low lows and left some meat on the bone. But you have to think about what Caleb Williams is coming from. Started off last year with Shane Waldron. He gets let go middle of the season. New offensive coordinator. Ben Johnson comes in, and Ben Johnson obviously running some next level high level shit compared to what those guys were running. Got to learn that in an off season. Got to put it to use. And oh yeah, week 1 primetime against a Brian Flores fire zone defense with one of the better defensive lines in football. Have fun. Like, there's going to be ups and downs in a game like that. There's going to be ups and downs in a season like this for the Bears. You know, some people predicted Bears maybe could go win this division this year or go win a Super Bowl. And it was a little far, but are the Bears a potential playoff team? Absolutely. They went toe-to-toe with the Minnesota Vikings, who won 14 games last year. Both of these teams looked like playoff teams to me. I don't think that there has to be a definitive, this is great for this team and terrible for this team at the result of this game. Truthfully, I left this team feeling pretty confident about both of these squads. Ben Johnson will work on these things with Caleb Williams. Let's take a deep breath here. We saw some of the high highs of when things are clicking. That Bears offense can be high level. We saw some of the low lows. Caleb still holds onto the ball a little bit too much. His escapability was really saving him in this game. But there were the potential for some disaster plays there. The penalties, the false starts on their offensive line, that has to be cleaned up. Multiple times in this game, they went from 2nd and 5 to 2nd and 10, or 3rd and 6 to 3rd and 11. Like, you can't make it harder on yourself, not in the National Football League, and certainly not against this Minnesota Vikings defense. It's too good. And you're asking too much of Caleb at that point. They have to clean up the process. Over 120 yards and penalties, multiple missed wide receivers. The running game certainly wasn't to the level that Ben Johnson had in Detroit. There's got to be things cleaned up here. But to say that you don't see the potential would be disheartening and would be lying. No TJ Edwards, no Jalen Johnson in that secondary. I thought the Bears showed flashes, but I thought the Minnesota Vikings showed you why Kevin O'Connell won Coach of the Year, why they won 14 games this year, and why they're very much alive, not only to compete for the playoffs, but compete for this division, man. I know a lot of people are going to proclaim that the NFC North belongs to the Packers after what we saw on Sunday, and I certainly have some concerns about the Lions, and I certainly believe in Green Bay, but I don't think that this is open-closed division after week 1. I think that both of the teams tonight looked very good. The Lions have been too good for too long not to give them respect. And Green Bay, yeah, they were the most impressive team in this division week 1. There's no denying that. But the NFC North is going to be an absolute dogfight. I expect both of these teams to improve throughout the season as they get healthier and as they start to find their mojo, man. Very bright futures for both the Minnesota Vikings and the Chicago Bears. That's how I feel after tonight's action. As always, be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. What did you think of this Monday Night Football game? Where do you stand on the Vikings and Bears as we progress forward? I have a week 1 recap video live on the channel right now. It's about 40-ish minutes or so. We're talking about every game that happened on Sunday. As well, all my reactions to the primetime games are live on the channel as well. If you want to check out any of those, that Ravens-Bills game was absolutely fantastic last night. If you love the NFL and you're not yet subscribed to this YouTube channel, make sure you hit that button. I appreciate your guys' support. I'll catch you next time. Peace.